Well, good day. Ira Epstein, and here we are with your Spider ETF stock market wrap-up. And this wrap-up with my magic shirt. I hope you like that. My wife gave it to me. With the magic shirt is for Tuesday, and we are at the 15th, halfway through July 2025. All right, my friends, what can you say? It was a day full of a lot of information. We've been waiting on CPI and PPI. The CPI numbers this morning came out, and they weren't weak and they weren't strong, but they showed that you're in the right direction. You're adding more pressure to the market. It's gradual, but it's there, and I think that's how the Fed's going to read it. I think they're going to say they see inflation. It's not going down. It's going up. It's at a very timid pace, but it is climbing, and it's early. Now we're starting to see the impact. And remember, many countries are paying tariffs to us already, and there's bigger tariff numbers that are going to start coming in if these things don't get resolved. So let's talk a little bit about all that if we can. Indonesia, I want to start right here. They worked with President Trump, and today they were the country that got down to a 19% tariff. They've done a deal, letter of understanding, memorandum, whatever it is, from their 32% tariff. They're going to buy $15 billion in U.S. energy, $4.5 billion in produce, and they're going to buy 50 Boeing jets. So now what the president has done is eliminated that, and this is the first. So now that gets exciting. It shows that you can do it, what the president said. Come back to the table, give us something we like, and we'll work with you. You're going to get Mortgage Bankers Association numbers at 6. You're going to get the Richmond Fed President Barkin. He's going to be speaking tomorrow at 7. We'll see what he has to say if he mentions this. June producer prices, well, that's what you want to keep your eye on. Are we seeing at this manufacturing level now what's going on? 0.2 is what they're looking at month over month. So the continuation of the growth. It's not flat. Slight growth. Go to 3, 4, you got a problem. Federal Reserve is going to release their monthly industrial production and utilization numbers at 8. The Cleveland Fed President, Hammack, is going to speak tomorrow. Fed Governor Barr is going to speak. So I'm hoping that one after one starts talking about the impacts and what they're seeing with the tariffs, because the president is really through with negotiations unless people are coming to him now and renegotiating. Pretty much everybody knows what their tariffs are. So, and we'll get the beige book yet, and you'll hear from what the business people in these different areas are thinking. So that's where it gets super interesting from my point of view. When we look at the indices today, they were down. So the only one of strength was the QQQ. I smelled that I didn't like the Dow yesterday, and I had my clients come out of the Dow. And I said, we were in the market, and our risk was $70 on a futures contract. I said, it's the happiest 70. I don't want to hang around. And of course, then the market went higher during the day today, and I was eating my heart out, and then I had to be gone for hours. Today's one of the few days that I'm just going to be gone. I do take vacations, but this was very different. And I couldn't even look at the quotes where I was at. And when I came back and I'm looking at things and going, whoa, that turned out to be the right call. You can see that the metals sort of drifting right here. They're not doing a heck of a lot. Boeing gave back a little because Europe is threatening that they have 72 billion euro in retaliatory measures that they are prepared if they cannot agree with President Trump. Okay. Boeing is one of them. U.S. cars. I don't think we have a footprint for 1% of cars that are sold in Europe are U.S. cars. I really believe that. I mean, it just doesn't exist. So what they'll go after is airplanes and bourbon. Since we're going to go after wine and cheese, they'll go after American bourbon. Okay. You look at that and you hope that they can see what Indonesia did. I realize on bigger scales it's more complicated. I want Mexico to look at that. I want Canada. There are ways to get this down to make it fair for everybody. The idea that you're going to eliminate these tariffs, They're not going to happen. I made that clear to you at the beginning because you won't have a tax bill. The president's changing it. This money's going to help pay for that. And he just said it's time to alter the world markets. Of course, China's going, we always told you the Americans were not a good partner. Look at how wonderful we are. This is where you should be. And they are doing that. Tesla tried the upside today and ended up giving that all back in the trade. NVIDIA did great because Jensen Huang was able to convince President Trump that you're better off in the Chinese market than not there. We don't have to sell them our top end chips, but let's sell them something that's just better than they have. And he got the president to say H20. So he's making deals, and that helped that market quite a bit. Amazon, still playing very well from what's going on. You tried all over the board on Netflix to break it. Remember, you have the earnings coming out very shortly, I think 17th, so we want to be paying attention. And speaking of Netflix, well, here the market has come down. You are in a downtrend at this point, lower highs, lower lows on the daily chart. In order to negate that, this market must now get over 1289.60. If it can do that, it negates the downtrend. Barring that, this is the resistance point where short sellers are probably stepping in with, I would think, stops over that number. And they'd be looking, can you get to the 1217 level? And I say that because when you have the trend down and you're under the 18-day average, you've got the market pushing. The weekly chart looks a lot different than this. You are also in oversold territory. Any reading when you get one of these numbers that are under 30 is oversold. So do people readily deploy new money in an oversold condition to push it down? It's the way you have to think about it. I don't think so. Can you believe MP not only got the federal government for $500 million, now they're getting Apple wants in $400 million. Everybody wants the magnets this company's going to make. I was at dinner back here with friends saying, you know, there's this company, one of my clients told me to start covering. I said, I don't understand enough about it. This is what happened. That was a heck of a call for you. I hope he did well. In Dash, we talked yesterday, it's looking like it wants to slip, and it did so. So now you're back into a downtrend. You have lower highs, lower lows. You're under the 18-day average. The shorts are probably probing it at 237.61. They don't want to see prices to get over the highs, and I'll give it to you right here, of 243.60. So that's probably what they're playing with on it. Okay. I wouldn't be surprised to just see it hang around here. If momentum goes against the company, why not get to wherever the Bollinger Band is? Google finally climbed back up to the 18-day average. So many people think this company's in trouble, and I'm not one of them. I realize OpenAI and others want to do things where they're saying we can build a better mousetrap than the Google Chrome or whatever they have. As a Chrome user, as a Copilot, as an other AI user, I see it all blending together. And when you're comfortable with it, you're comfortable. It's very hard to change things you're not comfortable with. Example, how many of you want to switch from your Apple phone to an Android? There's always somebody that wants to do it, or the other way around. But there's a learning curve. Because even when you own your Apple and you're on your fourth generation, you don't know all the things it'll do. Because there's no booklet out there. You got to go to dummy booklets, you know, and try to see things. Go, oh, do I really need that? I didn't know it could do that. Starbucks, back and forth. You know, I think that you can slip a little bit here. That's what you're trying to do. You've got spikes from the top. You're under the 18-day average. Slipping back could be the first support, 92.34, but you can get to this 90.52 level. It is not a buy right here. This is what I wanted it to do because you got up to the resistance and I thought you'd fail. Now the pullback will tell us, can it come back with a verve? They have to do something at Starbucks. I don't know what that something is, but they need to do something, and that'll get the market going. When we take a look at Robinhood, you know, you lose the embedded reading. It doesn't even try to get to the 18-day average. These lads, as I'll call them, they've got this crypto wrapped up. They're doing a heck of a job, and that's what's going on. Don't chase it. If it can come to you with the right terms, you go in, it's worth watching. I'd love to see it back at the 90 level, and I'm waiting. Tesla, another move. We heard yesterday good things about Elon, what he's trying to put together here, wants more money for AI and all. But this was a bear market rally into the 18-day average, nothing more than that. It needs to be rebuilding. That's what I'm seeing. It's a pretty popular word. Now be careful right here. The way SOX is, if you close tomorrow under 79, the odds favor you're through on the upside rally and you're going to make a run for the 18-day average of closes. You keep your eye on momentum. This has been a momentum trade, and that's what I think you have to concentrate on. And the financials, I refused at this point, and my subscribers, I'm talking with them, I said, guys, we'll have our chance. The higher it goes now, it'll pull back. Just what it's doing. Now I start getting interested in the morning subscriber video. And we'll start talking about that over the next, starting tomorrow. XLI, be careful. If XLI just gets under here, this 140, what is that, 149.62 level, you're in trouble. You break the swing line. You've been embedded. If you start losing that, you open the door for 147. So I'm not as bullish as you would think. I'm less bullish at this point in time, thinking the market might be going temporarily on a bit of the defensive. On the energy, you've already done that. You pulled back to the 18-day average. You're not trending in that market any longer. In the gold market, you're not trending. You're stuck at the 18-day average of closes temporarily. You're hoping inflation comes. You saw the inflation today out of the CPI. It wasn't powerful, but it was there. That's all you can say about it. Silver backing off. I just mentioned to you yesterday, I said markets don't stay over those Bollinger Bands very long. You could fall. You got room here. Let it pull back on that gold-silver ratio. Copper market, well, these are the miners. And in the miners, what's going on is they got the ride up, obviously. Remember the squeeze plays and all. Then we knew what the tariffs were. So this is that washout. Let it wash out before you do a darn thing with it. And BND, TLT, you got to be careful here. You're right at the point where we're seeing what the inflation is. We're seeing the impact on the economy. We're seeing the interest rates in Japan shoot higher. That bodes well that they can come here higher. I don't know how much stronger they have to get. But right now, there's nothing that says to me, and I think to a number of traders, that Powell is going to be gracious and in July he's going to cut rates because things look softer. They don't look softer. Inflation is picking up. In the dollar, short covering. So maybe we won't go to that fifth price count. Maybe you're satisfied with the fourth one. I have a very open mind on it. This is impressive. How the markets come back and how it's thrown the other currencies. Take a look. Into the toilet. Why can't you go now to the 109 level? It is oversold, but if the dollar gets any more of a bid, this market probably going to get hurt. So I ask you to join me in the mornings when I do my morning subscriber video. This is where we have the fun. This is great, but this is not where I'm saying to you, I want you to buy here. I want you to sell there. Here is the stop. Here's the way you play with that stop. Here's the profit objective. Here's the chart pattern it's coming from. Here's what's up on the news. It's a whole game plan. And we track every trade every day that you've put on. I promise you'll have losers. I promise you'll have winners. I promise that on a lot of these, like I'm in the video for you if you followed it. I don't know if you did it, but we certainly have been tracking, putting it on, coming in and out of the trade since December. We started picking up Boeing, nearly a year ago or so, and picking them up. And that's how we come at it. So it's a mixture of things. But the futures, I like the hit and run. The combo package, I like the hit, the hold, the run at times. I mix it all up. And because so many of the futures markets make up what happens in the combo, you get to play both hands. And sometimes you go, it doesn't make sense playing it in gold, but gee, GLD, look at that chart. Look at how clean it looks compared to it. You give yourself those tools. Inexpensive, full of information. I make it easy. IraEpstein.com research. You see your clicker up here, your icon, give it there. Join us. I hope you do it. I'm Ira. I will catch up with you all in the morning and in the evening videos. Thumbs up, please. Take care.